Okay, here today we're going to talk about building volumes, specifically a hexagonal or six-sided volume with a flat top. When I started doing this, looked on YouTube. The only thing I could find was the popular pyramid triangle-shaped volumes. It's great. It's a great one if you're starting out. I highly recommend doing that one before you attempt this one. That one's a lot less complex than this was going to be. But anyway, couldn't find any more complex volumes on YouTube, so I decided to build my own and show you how it's done. The tools you're going to need for this job: tape measure. You're going to need some drill bits to put in the T-nuts. I believe it's a 7/16. Make sure it's right. Test fit it before you install a bunch of them. You're going to need a square, framing square. This one is adjustable, which is very helpful in this one because we're going to be using 15-degree angles, and an adjustable square makes that really easy. If not, you're going to need to do something you can draw those angles with. You're going to have a drill. You're going to want put a lot of screws into this thing. The drill is going to be very helpful for putting it together. You're going to need sander. You're going to have to do a lot of sanding. And to make sanding easier, I highly recommend a they call it a pocket planer at Ace. I think it's $7.99. I call it a rasp. It takes off a lot of material, saves a lot of money in sandpaper. Sandpaper is actually quite expensive. You're going to need a bunch of drill bits. Another drill bit that's going to be nice to have is a countersink bit. It just allows the head of the screw to recess a bit, making it easier to putty over and sand, and nice and neat and smooth. Optional putty knife. You can do it without that probably. A few other things. This is not a you can do this with a skill saw probably. It's going to be really difficult, really challenging. Highly recommend a table saw. This is one where you call that grandfather or uncle and you come in at their house and work with them on their tools. They got a nice table saw. This is the time. You can do it with a skill saw probably. It's going to be really tough. Also in the tool department, I recommend safety glasses. When you're using these power tools, that's always a good idea. Hearing protection, great idea when using power tools. Also works well for girlfriends, fiancés, wives. Materials. Today we're going to use about half a sheet of plywood, 3/4 inch thick. You don't want to go thinner. These things are going to have to use a lot of weight, and the screws have got to hold, so you want to use at least 3/4 inch thick plywood. We're going to use about a half a sheet. You're going to need just less than 20 of these or more. Just depends on how you lay them out. You don't have to do it the way I do it. I'll show you how I do it. 20 T-nuts. You can get the kind that you bang in, or you can get the kind you screw in, whichever suits your fancy. These are easy to replace in the Hexagon, this size at least. So the tap-ins are not bad if they're less cost. You're going to need 1¼ inch screws, a box of them. Small box from hardware store work just fine. You're also going to need some wood filler. This is a Mini Wax high performance wood filler. It's a two-part. It comes with a compound and it comes with a hardener. You mix them together and you apply it. You've got a few minutes to put it on. The advantage is I use this stuff a lot. It's not that expensive, but it does a wonderful job, and it stays. When the volume starts getting a lot of use, it won't break out and crack. Okay. The next step is to get our plywood cut down to a manageable size. If you got a really nice table saw, you may not need to do this, but what I like to do is I like to take and get the first 2 strips of plywood cut so that it's easier for me to handle. So I got it in 4-foot strips, cut them off the bottom of the board. We're actually only shooting for about 9 inches of width when we're done. So you could, if you're using a skill saw, you can rip these off at about 10 inches. That'll allow you enough room to come back and run them through the table saw and get it down to around 9 inches. You can be a little bit bigger. This measurement isn't exactly crucial. We're going to be 9 inches wide on the top face of our trapezoids to get it pretty well proportional, about the same size. About 9 inches, 10 inches deep on the height of the trapezoid is what we're shooting for. So in this case, I'm cutting mine to 9. So I've got the boards cut a little wider than that. These are actually scrap, so they're a lot wider than that. But I'm going to run them through, and I'm going to cut them at a 30-degree angle. And what we're looking for here is a 30-degree angle this way, and a 30-degree angle this way, so that we have a we got a long side and a short side. And the long side, the goal is, on mine, is going to be 9 inches. Like I said, you can make yours a little longer if you like. So we got our boards cut to 48 inches long, 9 inches across the top, and 30-degree angles on both sides. So 9 inches across the long side, less across the bottom. I didn't measure it. Alright, so now 2 boards cut exactly the same, beveled edges. We're going to now take our framing square, adjustable framing square. We're going to set it to 15 degrees. You probably can't read that on mine, but we're going to set it to 15 degrees. And we're going to draw trapezoids on it. The trapezoids are going to be 9 inches across the top, and they're going to be wider across the bottom with 15 degrees angles at the top. So, you get your trapezoids drawn on your board. The next step is to cut them out. Again, we're setting our saw to 30 degrees. So we got our 15 degrees here, 15 degrees here. But then we're going to set our cuts to be 30 degrees. So when we're finished, we got a 4-sided piece, 4-sided trapezoid. Every angle exactly the same, 30 degrees on the short side. And then the long side is no angle showing. Bottom side, all the angles where they're all going to lean in toward each other, like so. 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees on the bottom, 30 degrees on the top. Run it through saw, cut all 6 trapezoids out, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next step. Alright, getting ready for the next step. I like to install the T-nuts next. You got to be confident about what you've done at this point, though. Before you install T-nuts, you may want to wait, but this is where I would install T-nuts. I drill all the holes. You may just want to drill all the holes and be ready to install it. You can test fit your pieces. They should be relatively the exact same size all the way around, and that's good. With my T-nuts, I like to put them on. I like to do 3 sides with 1 right in the middle. That way they can set the big handhold. And I like to do 3 on 3 other sides, so they can take 3 smaller holes, and then I'll alternate them: a single, a triple, a single, a triple, a single, a triple, all the way around. So we can put 3 small holes on this one, or we can put 1 big hole on that one. So what we'll do, we'll put them all 3 together. If you got a clamp, that's great. If not, get a buddy, hold them. Take your 7/16 inch drill, drill them all. Okay, this next step involves some material I forgot to mention. To put it together, you're going to need some scrap 2x4. 2 or 3 foot will do you. You're going to split it so it's at a 60-degree angle, or 30-degree angle on one side. You're going to set your table saw to 30 degrees. You're going to run it down, and you're going to keep doing it until you get all the pieces you need. We're going to cut them in about 6-inch lengths. You're going to need 12 of them. 12 of them at 6 inches. So whether you're doing a 2x4 or 2x6, determine how much you'll need. Anyway, pull one, split it, so you get enough for 12 pieces. now we've got our 6 trapezoids cut. We got a dozen support pieces cut out of 2x4 or 2x6. Most of yours probably look like this. Some of them may look like this. The important thing is that it has the angle that matches up with 2 of these pieces when you put them together. One sits like that, the other board sits right across there, so you end up with a flat surface touching each board. Next step, what we're going to do is we're going to take on every one of these, we're going to attach one to one side, the same side on all 6 pieces. So I'm looking at it from the front, I'm going to attach it to the left. I'm going to use a little bit of wood glue, put it on the piece. I'm lining up the halfway point with the halfway point of this. That'll help keep the block from touching the floor or the top of the box. Put a little wood glue on the piece. Put it right down on it. Drill 2 screw holes with a countersink bit. Put your 2 screws in so they're nice and countersunk so we can fill them with putty later. And we're going to do that 6 times so that we have all 6 pieces have one piece of backing on the same side, so that as we put them together they're ready to go. We can just now put 2 screw holes in this one and put these in. Then we'll come over here with the next one and do the same thing. 2 screw holes in this one, put this one in. And you see where it'll be real easy to assemble the 6 pieces. So your backer board's on there. Make sure that your angle lines up so that this angle fits nicely with the board that's going to be up against it. Glue it on, countersink the screws. I'm using 1¼ inch screws. They don't go through. You can use longer. I wouldn't use shorter. And there you go. That's the next step. Alright, we've got all our pieces cut. We've got them all, one backer board on every one of them. Now it's time to start assembling. Before you assemble, go ahead and start pre-drill your 2 holes in the top and 2 holes in the other side, so that when we start to put them together, they go together real easy. When you do these 2 holes, make sure that they're not going to interfere with your screws that you've already placed in the other board. So 2 holes in the side, 2 holes in the top. We're not going to put the top pieces on yet, we'll do that later, but then we can start assembling. Alright, as you assemble, make sure the grooves are clean. Make sure the tops are going to line up. Everything's going to fit nice and neat. Go ahead and put some glue on it. A couple screws in the start. Put it together. You really want in here is a nice tight fit, but the top is the primary, because the top is where you still got to cut a board for, so it's going to fit nice and flush around the bottom. But you're really worried about the top. Alright, now we're not going to tighten these screws up all the way. Still going to leave a little slack, and then the reason is because you work your way around. What you're going to find out is that when you get to the sixth piece, it's not going to want to fit real well. You're going to have to talk it into it a little bit. You're going to have to coax it. So we're going to leave them a little loose for the time being until we get around there, and then we're going to come back, and once we get everything in place, then we'll tighten it up. Alright, now we got 5 sides on, ready to fit the 6th side on. When you get it to this point, your gap may look a little bit smaller, depending on how well you cut the angles and just how it came together. But, you know, get your buddy to help you spread it apart. It's not going to break. Get it apart, get this last one in. This is the key one. Make sure you get all the glue, glue all the joints. at this point, tighten all the screws. Get it all good and tight. You've gotten this far, you're going to end up with a volume. It's flat on the ground. If it's not flat on the ground, check your corners on the inside. Make sure none of your support boards are touching. If they are, go ahead and take your time, file them off, sand them off now. Beyond that, even if it's a little out of square, crooked, not the end of the world. It's going to be good. It's going to be fine. You're not going to be worried too much about it. We're going to trace and make the top, so it doesn't have to be perfect. At this point, start installing your beams around the top. Again, mark the centers. Mark the center of the board, or eyeball it. Get it on there now. This one's not so important because you can tell it's not going to hit the sides. Go ahead and put your screws in. Attach these 6 pieces all the way around. So getting ready for your top. And glue them. Don't forget to glue them. Okay, now we got all of our support pieces laid in for the top. It sits flush on the bottom. It's not riding up anywhere because our supports down there are touching. We're ready to go. To get this top piece cut, what we're going to do is we're going to trace it. You can do it one of 2 ways. You can trace it directly onto a piece of plywood and you can cut it out. But know that when you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to flip it. So you trace this side and this side. When you flip it, what you're going to end up with is this side and this side. So it's not going to be the same. Since this isn't exactly symmetrical, you can do that. It will work this way I did the first one. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace it first onto a piece of paper. And then I'm going to translate that piece of paper onto my plywood. So that when I cut it, I end up with the exact same cut because it'll come out right. So first thing I did is I went around and numbered the sides 1 through 6. And then I'm going to number my paper same way. All the way around. That way, after I do get all this cut and figured out, I know exactly how it lays back in. Alright? And it's just simple tracing with a better pencil. Alright, after we get it traced, we're going to cut it out. When you cut it out, make sure you cut on the inside of the line. This line is already bigger than the board, so make sure you cut right on the inside line. When you get done, there should be none of the pencil mark left. The next step is this. Once you get it traced out on your piece of paper, we're going to cut the paper out, and I like to take a straight edge to draw the lines because your boards are straight. So take a straight edge and use a straight edge to cut them so they're nice and straight. Then we're going to transfer it to a piece of plywood. We're going to transfer it to the top. Whatever side of this plywood we want to be the top, that's what we're going to transfer it to. That way when you make the cuts, the underside is going to be the recessed side. So as you cut these, your underside will be beveled. This will be the top. Again, we're going to transfer our numbers to the board. Since this one is my finished side, I went ahead and transferred them to the bottom. It doesn't really matter. Just get your numbers on there somewhere so you know what these sides correspond to on your actual device, on your actual volume. Once you get it there, then we're going to take it to the table saw and we're going to cut these. And again, we're going to cut them at 30-degree angles. So every line, we're going to cut it at a 30-degree angle all the way around, all 6 sides. And then we're going to all 6 sides cut and ready to put on. Alright, so after all that work, the moment of truth comes. We drop it on, test fit it, check it out, see where our gaps are. If you're too big, you may try and trim a little bit off, see where it's touching, what corners it's touching. Mine's a little high because the blocks are probably raised up a little bit. I may go back and adjust them down a little bit. Anyway, put it on there. Keep taking a little bit off, adjusting it till it fits. You can try rotating it. It's going to definitely fit some ways better than others. Some ways not going to fit at all. But rotate it so you get the best fit, and then adjust it till it gets the best possible fit, and screw it down. And once you get it screwed down, we're going to sand the edges. We're going to use our rasp to get as much material away as possible. Once we get done with that, we're going to come back and sand it nice and smooth. All of it, the corners, the top edges, everything. Then we're going to come back, fill it in with a wood putty, the 2-part wood filler. This is definitely what I recommend, Minwax wood filler. Mix it up, fill it in all the cracks, all the screw holes, everything but the T-nuts. Get it all filled in, let it dry, come back, rasp it to get off the hard pieces. The rasp would knock off the wood filler in a hurry. It's it'll save you a lot of sandpaper. When you get done, come back, sand it smooth again. If you still got any holes, do it again. 2 or 3 times. You want this baby smooth. You want these sharp corners gone. You don't want anybody getting roughed up on the sharp corner. Alright, there we go. Alright, so after taking and using the hand planer on it and then sanding it, I came back and I put the wood filler in it, gave it a chance to set up, came back with the hand planer, knocked all the high spots off, used the sander, 60 grit paper again over the whole thing. Still wasn't perfect, so I came back with another shot of wood filler, again the planer, again the 60 grit sandpaper, and really worked it top to bottom. These corners are super smooth, really hard to get traction on as they stand right now without either putting a grip up there, a hold up there, or putting some grip tape up there, or maybe painting in some texture on it. So that's the goal. You want to really work this thing, make your corners nice and smooth, get everything just completely rounded, really hard to hold on to by itself. That way you've got a lot to work with. No big gaps, all your big holes, make sure you get those filled in. Make sure you put your T-nut holes in the top, however you want to do them. And that's it. If you were successful, post up some pics. Let me see them. Let me see how it came out. If you got another idea for a really cool volume and you build it, make sure you let me know. I'm dying to see it. I might try to build it myself. If you post up a YouTube video showing how to do it, that's even better. Make sure I see it. Alright, till next time.